Yeah, that's interesting. That is very interesting because that actually should be a segment that we did. That we do is Anthony Davis is overrated.
Let's get into this for a second. We here. We only got 4 topics today. You know, since you're feeling spicy right now. Anthony Davis is overrated. Yo, tweet this out, y'all, because Mazique about to lose some friends over here. Okay, I think I'm of two minds with this. He's a young player. He's only 25. So players under 25 do not have the burden of having to win games for the most part. You just want to see them be productive.
Right.
And they did handle the Portland Trailblazers last year in the playoffs. So we can't say, and he's made the playoffs before, and they actually played Golden State well several years ago. So we can't say the guy, he's not DeMarcus Cousins, right? Who has literally never done anything of note until like yesterday.
Yes. Right.
Having a good game against the Houston Rockets while on the Golden State Warriors is literally the best thing he's ever done as an NBA player. So
the most impacting for sure.
Yeah. So while that is the case, it could be argued that Rondo and Drew Holiday were a much bigger part of that victory over Portland than he was. Eyeball test watching that series. And then when you look at what players you would have as the best player on your team, you look at the best teams in the league, right? You got Steph and Durant. You got LeBron. You got Giannis. You got Harden. You got Chris Paul. You got Westbrook. You got Paul George. You got Kawhi and Leonard. And then we start to move a little bit more into the outer reaches. But even guys like Victor Oladipo and so on and so forth. All of these guys are people I'd rather have than Anthony Davis, healthy, you know, in their prime, than Anthony Davis running the team because I know how to build around him.
Right.
I think the overrated part is not that he's worse than what he is, but I think people overvalue what he is.
I think that's the right word. I don't think that overrated is the right word. I think overvalued is the right word because, and it's not his fault. It's not that he's less than something that he should be, right? He's everything that he should be, except for maybe a little healthier. But he's everything he should be. Like, I don't think there's a part of his game that he hasn't maximized, right? I don't think it's like he doesn't have like a Shaq free throw issue. Right. He doesn't have this thing where he hasn't worked on an outside shot. You know, he doesn't have a thing where he hasn't worked on footwork to have a back to the basket game. None of that, right? He's not out of shape physically. So he's able to move and have this elite level athleticism. But the problem is that what he does is not as valuable to an NBA team's success as perhaps a guy like Giannis.
No, he's like what Jamario Moon makes of himself as a my career player. Jamario Moon as a my career player is Anthony Davis. But the very DNA, the key words that you said there that I loved was his game. His game is maximized, basically, right? Offense, defense, shooting, rebounding, free throws, right? You know, making plays, a decent passer, all that stuff. Yeah. Blocks, steals, great.
The pick and roll.
Sure. But at the end of the day, you can get a lot of that production from two guys that you pay a lot less than. Like, the job that we need is somebody to take this ball, make decisions, and create open shots. In fact, I think when compared directly against Giannis, I think you made a great point. Some people look at them as kind of like, 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other. You look at some of these three-point shots that these people get on the Milwaukee Bucks from Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, guys literally have time to pump up their shoes first. Yeah. Like, they catch that ball, line up the seams, and then shoot. That's how much defense he's drawn. I think he's the hands down MVP.
Yeah, it's not close to me.
I don't think it's close to
that. Nuts, but no.
Fantastic season for Harden, and it's a shame. But Giannis, in terms of most valuable player, Giannis is the most valuable player because there are situations that he creates that nobody in the league is coming close to creating. It reminds me of the power forward, small forward version of Steph, where you just can't compare the fact that Steph crosses half court and the defense gets stretched to the breaking point.
Yeah, I would say the three guys that pop into my head that I've seen play live in terms of overall on the floor impact. I would say is Shaq is first, and then Giannis, and then Steph. And the reason why I put them ahead of Steph is because Steph's there are nights that Steph's shot might not fall.
Mm-hmm. And when I say Steph, I really mean regular season Steph, because even though I think people have been a little bit unfair to Steph, they talk about like he completely falls apart in the playoffs.
He completely falls apart by his standards.
That's what it is. Yeah. Sometimes he's usually still one of the best players. The thing is, during the regular season, Steph reaches peaks that have you debate his all-time status. And we haven't seen that in the playoffs yet, which is why I want Durant off that team ASAP, because I want Steph to be in that situation and have to get 40 in order to win a game.
And the funny thing is that we say this about Steph, right? But he's averaged over 28 a game in the postseason twice.
Yeah, but he averaged 32 in the regular season. That's what we're saying. That's like exactly what we're saying.
It's crazy. He's never shot less than like 38.6% from 3-point range in any postseason.
Again, that's worse than what he normally does by quite a bit. But he's the greatest shooter of all time.
He has 3 years over 40 in the postseason. It's crazy, but I know what you're saying because I see it. But it's really not very different. It's really not very different.
Well, it's very different by the standard of Steph is a nuclear weapon in the regular season. And he's like a low grade, not a low grade, but he's like a ballistic weapon in the playoffs. And he's still a great weapon, but he's not nuclear status to the level that he is in the regular season yet. And the thing is, with Kevin Durant on the team, he's not going to have to be.
Yeah, I think 16-17 is the exception. 16-17 is the exception. 16-17, he was actually better in the postseason than he was in the regular season. But that's the only year. And that doesn't align with what you usually see from great players. Great players are usually better in the postseason, like every postseason.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem. That's where it goes. It's like, because if you look at Mike's stuff, Mike's stats in the postseason is just like, are you serious? Even and LeBron too. And most of his, like I would say all but like one postseason for LeBron.
Much credit to LeBron James for most of his career. He is a guy pacing himself, putting up numbers during the regular season, and gets in the postseason and does crazy stuff like average 40. And that's the thing. Steph during the regular season is sometimes debatably the best player in the league. Mm-hmm. He's pretty much never been the best player in the postseason.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, because 16-17 is the first year Durant won.
Durant was there. Yeah, right. And that's where he was just basically coasting, like, we're gonna get you to fit in here. I'll do what I need to do. Blah, blah, blah.
It's funny. Mike never averaged less than 29 points a game in the postseason, and that was he did that in his rookie year when he was 21 years old.
Mm-hmm. People forget, man. That's why people talk about, like they act like the game is totally advancing. I think that's true for the role players. Mm-hmm. That's true for the coaching. That's true for the shooting. But the superstars, some of these people, y'all need to go back and look at how nuts these guys were. Like we said about Wilt, sometimes it's just like these guys were in a time machine playing against the people they played against.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's really something. And then we always talk about like Mike's 3-point shooting. Why was he like so much better of a 3-point shooter in the postseason than he was in the regular season? It's like it's crazy. He was like much better in the postseason.
Well, that goes to why LeBron gets criticized, because so many of the people of his talent level, of which there aren't that many, the more you press them, the harder they got to defeat. And LeBron is the one guy that the more he's ahead, the harder he is to defeat. But the more you can press him, the better chance you have of winning. And that's, that's just his uniqueness. I don't necessarily even hold it against him.
Yeah, he's a different kind of dude. He's definitely is a different kind of dude. And it took him. He had to fight through some obstacles that Mike didn't have to fight through
For sure.
to get to where he is. So I don't discount that. So people talk about toughness and all that kind of stuff. Well, LeBron had to be tough way before Mike had to be tough. You know what I'm saying?
And the thing
tough,
is, and also LeBron has other talents that Michael doesn't have. Like LeBron as a creator, as a businessman, as an actor, as a philanthropist. Mike has done charities and stuff like that, but LeBron does charities that makes other people do charities.
And LeBron actually cares about the charities that he does.
Well, I want to say I wouldn't say Mike don't care. It's because I don't know. Like I'm not there.
That was a joke.
I know, but it's I think it is important to LeBron. I think it really is.
I think it is. I think it
is. Like you can hear him talk about these things, and you can see the passion that he has for genuinely trying to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
So I don't hold it against LeBron because people are different. Everybody's not going to be Mike.
And I don't hold it against Mike I kind of do, but I try not to hold it against.
I don't hold it against Mike because he's a psychopath. He's a killer, man.
He is a psychopath. He really is. And
nothing entertained me more than him being crazy on the basketball court.
He's a sports psychopath.
Yeah,
he absolutely is. And you got to be willing if that's what you're going to do.